Hello, my name's Andy and welcome to the garage. Here is my next restoration, a Dinky Toys bus number 283, which is the BOAC Airlines bus, British Overseas Airline Corporation. Now, this is in need of restoration, nobody would doubt that. It looks like it's been multicolour painted at some point. It's lost all its tyres. It never did have glass, so we're lucky there. A nice one to do. I've been trying to do the decals for this for a while and I've come up with a solution that I find acceptable in the end. So let's get it on the table, shall we? Here is our Dinky Toys bus, heavily corroded. 2 dome-shaped rivets, so we'll have to get a grinder on those or a file, get them flat. Like that, and maybe drill them off. Heavily corroded underneath anyway. Original wheels, at least they're free and easy moving. Probably the wheels are corroded on the axles. Maybe. Being overpainted several times, it's multicoloured. It's a multicoloured vehicle. But everything's there. It's not being, the bumpers are there, the detail is under that paint. So let's get it apart, shall we? There's no need to rush these things. I find when you rush, you generally make a mistake. If you haven't thought it through, you're just so keen to get on. I think I'm going to grind these off. That's what I'm going to do. Right, I've ground these right down now, so I'm going to try and just do the last bit with a drill. Okay, we just finished the drilling and I think this is ready to pop up now. Both ends. Let's have a look. Don't want to move at the moment. I think we might be facing a bit of rust hanging on. There's the back gone. Let's get the front. There we go. And there is a heavily corroded base. We'll have to take those wheels off. And our corroded chassis, you can see it was blue inside, confirming it was the British Airways version. So I'll get the holes drilled in these and get these filed off. Right, just try and get the axles off this bus now. Right, first wheel's loose, off she comes, and the axle too. Not bad. I think there's a bit of work to do on this second one. It was on a bit heavier. There's not as much space on this one to grind it either. And we're done. And that can all go into the caustic soda. That one's fused on. Not a nice thing to happen, but we can deal with it. So, to the caustic. Here we are with our Dinky Toys bus, and it's quite heavily pitted. It was rusty. So what I'm going to do is give it the whole thing a coat of Cure Rust. I found it does help. The paint seems to go better if you get contamination and stuff. It's a chemical reaction this, so it just turns the rust black or purple, depending how bad it is. I've had this one a while to do. You can see it's already going black at this end. Do the underside as well. Just an old cut down brush, it's going straight in the bin after this. That's the base done. On with the body. Now the body is pitted in places. It's got some, don't know what you call it, wear and tear, degradation, if it was being posh. Some of the lines have been lost in places. Particularly at back here on that sort of destination plate holder. Along the windows here, I'm not sure if I can correct a lot of those. My best bet might be to file them a little bit, make them look less obvious. Of course, this is a BOAC bus, so this top bit's going to be white with below the windows dark blue. Just get some on the front. There we go. The worst of the pitting's round at the front, from what I remember. So when that's dried off, we'll take a closer look at that. While we're at it, we might as well do the wheels as well, the axles. Right, got some we have some super glue in a pot. Front offside here, left offside, that's the worst place. I don't think there's many casting lines, perhaps one there you can see. So we'll let that go off. Just smeared some super glue around there, and then we can look at sanding it down and then getting the primer on. Okay, we're back with our bus. We've smeared some super glue around, you can probably see it there. So it's just a matter now of a bit of wet and dry. I've got a bit of 240 started off. I'll carry on with that. I don't think there are any major casting lines. I'll just have to check this out at the front here. That looks casting line to me. Same both sides. I think that may be it. So the next time you probably see this, it'll be in primer. What I'll do with those casting lines is I'll just remove them with a file like that. So I'm pretty sure they shouldn't be there. They're all the way down, through the bumper, etc. Well, we're not in paint yet. But I've got rid of that casting line. I've tried to sharpen up the windows. And a bit at the back. Some casting lines there and there. And just around there. What I used to try and get those is an engraving tool in the multi-tool. A lot more accurate. Very difficult to get a file in there, etc. without damaging something else. Anyway, that's that. Now the base is pretty flat, but not quite. So what we're going to do is just get a piece of wood and just hammer it out. And that looks a lot flatter to me now. Still maybe a dip in the middle there. Can hit that. directly with the hammer. That's better. Now what remains to do is drill these holes for the rivets or the screws, whichever way I decide to go. And that really depends, I'm not sure if that's the wrong way around. That really depends how big the holes are in the base. Of course, I could always fill the holes in the base and drill them again. Anyway, I'll take a look at that and get back to you. Okay, I wasn't happy with the posts, got damaged in drilling, so I've refilled them. I've filled them with bicarbonate of soda and super glue, and I've recut the top holes. So now I'm just going to put a 1.5mm drill through those. There we go. You can see the hole, and hopefully I can tap those now and can revert back to some screws. So let's get back to that next. Tap the holes, put the screws in, all lines up so we can put this back into paint, and it just needed a bit of rework around the rear there where it was worst off. So that's the result. Right, here we are with the wheels of our bus, and we're just going to give them a polish up. They've got a bit of Microsol on them, and we're just going to give them a go around with this. There we go. And I'll go round and do all 4 of those, including the axles, and I'll turn them over and do the other side, and then I'll get back to you. Well, there are our polished wheels. They're going to need another go. I'm not quite happy with them yet, but you can see where we're going with that. Well, here we are back with our bus, as you can see, and these are the paints that I used. High coat for Blazer Blue, an Oxford Blue, which was a colour I think of BA and BOAC, and some Auto Extreme white gloss for the roof. I've done some decals. Now I copied these off a model on the internet, and I think they're not going to be perfectly clear. There's a slight shadow, but I can't do much about that. Since I printed these, I've worked out how to do this S. It's not a common typeface. I could have just done it all as separate letters and stretched a normal S. And the BOAC, I can't print gold, which was the original colour on this model, but this is copied straight off the internet and was a colour BOAC used, so just the white and the blue. We've polished the wheels, cleaned the axles, so I think what we'll do next is do some detailing. Okay, here we go. We've got a new 5.0 brush on this, and we're using some Humbrol Metallic 191. Let's try and get that set up so we can see it. I think first we'll go off with the grill. I think this may need 2 coats. That's the front grille done. And now move on to the lights. Now I had a bit of disaster last week. I decided to mask off something on my ERF truck, peel the masking tape off, and off came my paint. So I've decided now I'll keep freehand. Right. So we've got a fair bit of the front on there. Just got to check on the badges on Google Images. I think we might need 2 coats on the grille. Just do these little panels now. Right, what I'm going to do is stop there. I've done the front. Hold it at the back, so I've done nothing there. I've done some side handles, footrest, and one at that side. I might just do the front bumper, but best not rushing it and trying to do it all in one go. Let the paint dry. Try and let the paint dry. I think that's the way I'm working anyway. Right, while the paint's drying, it's time to peen the wheels on. I've drilled some little holes there. It's an idea I've had after watching Gravesend Diecast. Michael there, he had a jeweller's anvil which just looked like a load of holes drilled in a round piece of metal, which will hold your axle in place. So and that's the first one on. I'll have to give that a polish again. I'll do the second one off camera. Right, we're all peened on. They ain't going to come off. I might do a bit more. But we're looking good with our Dinky Toys 283 BOAC bus. Just got to get the tyres on there now. Here we go with the tyres. Now these were out the spare parts box because this model started with no tyres and was quite heavily overpainted. It's a warm day in the garage. It's 20 degrees. It's 20 to 8 at night. And there we have our roller. Well, our bus is out of detailing. Did a bit more at the front, as you can see. That bumper did need 2 coats. Catches on the sides and the rear bumper and a little catch. Didn't go overboard. So now we can put it together. We've got some decals. I've put the paint in the background that I use. That's a high coat blue. That's Auto Extreme White Gloss, if I haven't already told you that. If I have, sorry, I've told you again. But let's look at getting the base on. Now, the holes were too big for the screws I had, so I just put a bit of backing behind them, filled with a bit of bicarbonate soda and super glue on that side. And it's quite simple, this one. There's really nothing to it. Just get the base on. Right, so let's turn it over. Click it into place. So there's nothing to it. You've still got the screws to get right. Second one in. And there is our bus. A nice little roller. Here we go with the first decal. Lie that on its side. Now I tried to match the colour on these decals. Let's get a little cotton bud there. We've got a bit of water behind it. Those of you who are expert Dinky modelers will know that should be the gold Speedbird pointing that way with BOAC behind it in gold, I couldn't create that decal to my satisfaction using an inkjet printer that won't print metallic. I saw some buses had this logo on, so I've gone with this logo. Right, I'm having a lot of trouble with these decals. They don't want to come off the paper. You may wonder why I'm trying to push it off sideways and not long ways, because I've tried long ways a few times, it didn't work. Well, finally got it off. And that has been a tussle, I can tell you. Don't know if it's the heat. Whoa, that's been a marathon, I can tell you. You will probably see that speeded up, because that is the most difficult decal I have put on. Right, here we go with the second of our extremely difficult decals to apply. Whoa, that's been a marathon. It needed some Microsol. I was apprehensive to use Microsol because sometimes it does affect my decals, I think. Especially when they're quite thin lettering ones like this. Let's get a cotton bud, see if we can just dab a bit out. Check the other side. Right, it's more or less on the line. I think I'm going to go with that. Whoa, what a marathon. Next time you see her, she'll be on the turntable. Well, before we go to the turntable, I just thought I'd show you a bit more about how I do the boxes. When I did the ERF truck, one of the subscribers said, "Pity you didn't do a box." Ironically, I did have the template ready, but forgot about it. Anyway, here's the box for the bus, and this is how I do it. I only print boxes from templates I have. I don't do them from scratch, even though I could. It would take a long time, and if you want to see how to do that, PB's Restos in Australia, he has put a whole hour's video on how to do that, and it is very good. So let's look how I did this box. I normally just measure the model, I measure the template on my screen, then I print it in black and white on paper and just put the model on it to size it up. Normally needs 2, maybe 3 goes. I enhance the picture that I have from my template, which was bought on eBay. Bought a load of them on a disc. This is one of them. You do have to enhance it. Sometimes the colours are off, etc. And you do have to resize it. Then I normally cut them out with scissors. So that's the next stage, and that's normally the bit you see speeded up. So we'll jump to that now. I tend to do any tidying up with a sharp knife. What I will do is I'll show you a picture of the card I use. It's Crayola 200 GSM plain white card. I've used several different cards. I found that's the best one. It's quite cheap. I managed to get 18 sheets for the sum of £1. So it's a nice budget item. Right, then the next part is folding. Now you have to do this from the front, much though you might think it's better from behind, and I just tend to get underneath it and fold it over a ruler like that. And sharpen it up later. This one only just fitted on a piece of A4, so I have got my homemade tab at the end. There was a tab on the template much bigger than this, but I didn't have the space for that. So I've got my tab at the end there to glue it all together. See, I haven't cut that one down far enough, and I haven't cut that one at all, so it's a bit of work just to do there. What I'll do is I'll just pencil that in. The boxes, the templates are not always ideal. Some people say they're rubbish. My overall view is they're acceptable to good. Some of them are awful, I will say that. But very often it's better than building a box from scratch. Right, there we go. And now we've nearly done all the creases on our box. Some people use like a plastic knife or something to do this creasing, you might call it, folding. I haven't found one of those in the garage yet, so found it was just as easy to do it this way. And then once it's done, you can fold those over again and tighten them up, make those creases better. You want to make sure your backdrop's clear, because they will pick up dirt, these boxes. Depends what you want. I've seen them go for as much as £6, I suppose, on eBay. If you want a perfect box, a perfect card, etc., and you are a collector rather than a restorer, you might want to pay out that kind of money for a box. I'd expect that to be perfect. This isn't that box. I'd have to get a better printer. I'd have to source a slightly higher quality of card to do that. Right. So we've got all our folds except the two end tabs now. So we can, we just got to bend that one back. We'll have to glue this side. And that's your first look at your box. So let's get some glue on there. And the glue I prefer, no surprise to some of you, is this Gorilla Glue. Sets clear. I use it for gluing in glass, etc. So there's no point in having a separate glue, I don't think, for this job. Just another tube of stuff to store. Right, that's on there. Let's get it folded over. Line it up. It does move about on the glue. See, I've cut that tab a bit short. Never mind. Did realise that after I cut it actually. A bit short at this end. And then do is just got it there. Press it into place. Generally put a heavy book on it or something. Give it 5 or 10 minutes. And then you're good to start folding your box together. So we'll just wait for that. The next job is to get these tabs right for the folding in bit. Notice these technical terms, folding in bit, coming into play now. There's a lot of faff-assing about. That's another technical term I tend to use. And what I tend to do is just get it folded over, do that. I found this is the best way. Pencil line. That's one side done. Fold it over, sort of straighten it up, push it back, pencil line. Can't pick it up, just get a knife under it. Got no nails to speak of because I do martial arts, and you don't really want them in martial arts, hand-to-hand combat sort of stuff. Right, there's one box in. Rushed it a bit, I haven't quite let that glue go off. As you can see, my box is slightly big. I don't think there is a rule and generic size of boxes. I tend to make them a bit bigger so my model always fits in them rather than just fitting in them. So we'll now move to the turntable. This is what we started with, a heavily play-worn Dinky Toys BOAC number 283 of the British Overseas Airline Corporation. Quite tatty. So let's see how we got on, shall we? Because here it is now. Well, here we have our Dinky Toys number 283, I believe, BOAC BOAC, and she looks quite nice. I'm pleased with her. Some trials and tribulations getting those long decals on the roof line there. The British Overseas Airways Corporation. I didn't want to use Microsol at first, but in the end I had no choice. Microsol has affected a few of my decals, but fortunately it hasn't this time. BOAC decal above the front wheels there. Some gentle detailing on the front, a little bit on the sides, door handles and the rear bumper. There's not many pictures of the original bus of this style on the internet. I think it's a Cooper bus. I could have done more details on the back there on the sign as it comes round above the back window and the front window, but they would be exceptionally small. They wouldn't look accurate if I made them big enough to look. Anyway, another one saved. I do hope you've enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe, it does mean a lot to the channel. I do reply to all comments. I do like receiving comments. A lot of people out there are more knowledgeable than me, and I'm happy to take that knowledge on board. So until next time, take care of yourselves, and I'll leave you with the British Overseas Airways Corporation 1950s bus. Thank you.